I'm Dana Denha, and you're watching FYI. In 2019, our cameras watched as adaptive sports shaped the lives of many living with disabilities. With the right equipment and know-how, participants at Eastern Michigan University were able to enjoy recreational sports like they never thought possible.
OPAF and Eastern Michigan University are working together to bring FIRST clinics to Washtenaw County.
We're having our 8th annual Learn to Swim, Kayak, and Scuba Dive. And it's an adaptive program that's designed to reintegrate people with physical disabilities back into the community.
It offers people something that they thought may have literally been taken away from them, and we show them what the opportunities are and what the possibilities are, and we show them how to take it to the next level.
Once you're in the water, disabilities melt away because you're buoyant. So people have things like arthritis, people with limb loss, people with cardiovascular issues. I mean, the pool is wonderful because you're so much more buoyant. There's no stress on your joints. You don't have to worry about impact or any of those things.
They will learn the basics of kayaking, how to pull a boat, the strokes, how to balance within the boat, and if they get to the point, they'll learn to do a flip and then an upright. With scuba, they'll have a buoyancy compensator, they'll have a mask, they'll have fins, they'll wear a tank, they'll learn how to breathe underneath the water.
These FIRST clinics change people's outlook on life.
I've been doing adaptive recreation for years now. I have since I was a little kid. It was actually part of my physical therapy regimen. Back when I was very, very little, around the age of maybe 3 or 4. And now that I am 27, it's something that I just love to do. I love to swim, I love to be in the water, and it helps with my overall function. There's nothing better than them feeling independent. And this is where they can feel independent. To be on their own, to do their own thing, and to have fun while they're doing it.
With over 250 members of the community serving on boards, commissions, and committees, you too can have your voice heard through civic engagement. Learn how in this month's City Roundup in 60.
Hi, my name is Robert Malkai with the City of Ann Arbor Clerk's Office, here today to tell you about joining a board or commission. One of the best ways to engage with the city, advocate for positive change, and make your voice heard is to join a board or commission. With over 60 boards and commissions ranging from public art to human rights, we have boards and commissions for a wide range of policy interests. To learn more about our many boards and commissions, visit a2gov.legistar.com. Click on Boards and Commissions. Here, you can see all our boards, read a short description of them, and find contact information for each. Most boards have links that will take you to their webpage with more information. Those interested can click the Apply button in the top right corner. If you are interested in seeing current vacancies, under Boards and Commissions, click Vacancies. Here, you can see if any boards have an immediate opening and if the openings are for a specific position. Even if there is not a vacancy at the time, we'll leave your application on file for when a seat comes available. We look forward to seeing your application.
Libraries provide a community resource to people of all ages, stages, and interests. But not all library branches are created equal. For over a decade, the Ypsilanti District Library has been pushing to replace their Superior Township branch. And now the time has come to see the beginning stages of construction of this space that the community so direly needs. Joining me is Lisa Hoenig, Director of the Ypsilanti District Library. Welcome to the show, Lisa.
Thank you so much, Dana. Good to be here.
So obviously, Ypsilanti is similar to Ann Arbor, where you have multiple library branches, and the Superior Township one has sort of been really small and not able to, hold a lot of people. So why don't you tell me a little bit about what the current space is like and why you felt like when you came to this job that you needed to push for this library to be replaced?
Sure. Well, the Superior Township joined our library district in 2006 by a vote of the people. And the library had hoped at that time to build a new branch shortly after. And the temporary library was opened in one room of a Superior Township fire station. It's at the corner of Harris and MacArthur Boulevard in Superior. And this little library was meant to just be temporary until the library could find a home to build a new space. And when the economic downturn hit in 2007, 2008, it really impacted our budget. The library is largely funded by local property tax dollars. And so the library was looking at laying staff off and trying to just maintain the status quo, and it couldn't fulfill that promise of building. So that little tiny space has been our Superior Library for these 14 years. When I came to be library director in 2015, the board asked me to try to find a way to restore the library's budget to financial health and to also find a way to build this building that it had promised and never lost sight of.
Well, and that's like sort of a big feat in itself, right? The library was already having financial issues. And then they're like, on top of it, we'd like you to basically build a new branch.
Yeah, so we passed a millage in November of 2018 that brought money in to kind of help us keep things at a good quality level. And we can now think about building this building. We saved some money for it, and we're ready to go. We've been looking and planning for several years now since the millage passed. We talked to residents about what they wanted and needed, and we're set to break ground next week.
That's so exciting. And, it's really great to hear that you're asking the input of residents, because without them passing this millage, you wouldn't be able to have this library.
That's right. And the library is for the people and belongs to the people. So we want to make sure that we're giving them what they want and need. After we passed the millage, we held a number of public input sessions in Superior, and people by far and away told us the number one thing they wanted was a drive-up book return. So you can drive up and drop your books off in a slot without having to, get out of the car, without having to take little kids out into inclement weather, all of that kind of stuff. So that's something we really want to do if our budget will let us. We're definitely going to put the slot in the wall. Whether or not we can afford to create the pavement right now is a wait and see.
It's funny, I was reading that and I was like, that's a really good idea that I wouldn't even have really thought of, because my library branch, yes, and when I think about it, I can drive up to sort of like that half circle, but I got to get out of my car to drop the books off then. So it's actually like a really smart idea that I wouldn't even have thought about, going to the library, because it does make it that much easier. So hopefully that part does come to fruition for the people that live in Superior Township. Yep. Do you have to be a resident to utilize this library once it's open?
So the Ypsilanti District Library serves the communities of Ypsilanti City, Ypsilanti Township, and the portion of Superior Township that is not inside the Ann Arbor School District. And so if you have a card with us, you can use any of our facilities. And the programs and the space are open to anyone. You only need a card to borrow.
Yeah, so you could come, like a lot of times libraries have areas to sort of kids can hang out, and you can look at books. You might not be able to check them out if you're not local, but right. That's a big encompassing area. So a lot of people can have that library card and really take full advantage of Ypsilanti's libraries. Yes. So other than, that drive up, what else does the public sort of want? And what can we expect to see in 2022 when this library is expected to be open?
Yeah, people told us that they wanted an additional youth restroom close to the youth department. It's not going to be a huge library, but it's going to be a lot bigger than the little tiny room that we have now. And it will have a meeting room, and that's the other thing that people really want. Superior doesn't have any place to meet and gather in a public space. Obviously, with COVID right now, we can't meet and gather very well anyway. But there's a demand for that. There's a demand for having a place where our Parks and Recreation Department, for example, can hold gatherings, and the library itself can hold gatherings. And we're going to have that space for social service agencies to do different things too. So it'll be really good.
Were you surprised to see, that the public did vote to pass this millage? Because I maybe 10, 15 years ago, I feel like we heard a lot of talk about concern that people were not going to use their libraries the way they used to because of like e-readers and stuff like that. But I think libraries, if anything, have really stepped up to the plate and brought more services to the people that you could never even have fathomed that you could do at a library.
Yeah, we've become more of community gathering spots and community centers. We resources for people to get together, and we bring the technology for kind of interactions that with Zoom now and everybody, being more connected following COVID, I expect that those spaces will be used even more and more interactively. We do all kinds of things to help educate folks and to provide for families and small children to learn to read. And I think that, we're always going to have an important role to play in being part of our community.
Well, you mentioned earlier in our interview about you're having a big sort of groundbreaking for this new library. So tell me when the groundbreaking is. And you can actually watch for yourself in a couple different ways, right?
Yep. So every year there is a National Library Week, and National Library Week this year begins on Sunday, April 4th. We decided to hold our groundbreaking during National Library Week because the theme this year is Welcome to Your Library. And we really wanted to welcome the community to what's going to be their new library. So we're calling it a community celebration, and it's going to be Wednesday, April 7th at 3:30 on the site of the new library, which is on Harris Road between MacArthur and Getty's. And it'll be rain or shine. It'll be held with social distancing precautions and masks. And it's, going to be outside no matter what the weather. And it's a construction site, so people have to know that it's not going to be maybe super clean.
Yeah.
It'll maybe be muddy, but it's going to be a lot of fun. The Ypsilanti Community Schools drumline is coming.
Oh.
And we're going to have them perform a little bit before and after to kind of get people excited and in the mood. Then there'll be some speeches. There'll also be some other little fun surprises I think people will enjoy. But the whole thing is being sponsored by Bank of Ann Arbor with a live stream. So you can attend in person if you'd like, but you can also watch along with us from the comfort of your own home by a live stream if you'd prefer. We're grateful to Bank of Ann Arbor for their generosity in allowing us to have that offering.
Is there any sort of criteria? I mean, just to make people feel safe because it is like an in-person thing. When you say it's socially distanced, is there anything that you can really do other than, require masks and sort of tell people to stay 6 feet apart?
Well, I'm not sure what kind of crowd we'll have, but we will have hand sanitizer and the whole deal. We have adorable little masks that we're going to give out to the first bunch of people who come that have our library logo on them. So I think that people will be encouraged and understand what needs to happen. It is outside though, so I think people will be smart about it. We'll see.
Well, I think people might be wondering because there is a current library that they're using, even though it's a tiny one. Will the small Superior Branch Library be open during the whole construction process? And when will we see that close and then sort of move into the new space?
Well, actually, the current Superior Library is not open right now. It is so small, it's really an impossible space to
It's not very
accommodate
safe.
any kind of social distancing. So we are doing virtual services from there, and we're doing curbside pickup, and people can come and get materials from us through that contactless pickup method. Unfortunately, even though the library is there, we can't open that facility. It was never open the full number of hours that our normal bigger branches were. Was open about 28 hours a week. So with the opening of the new library, it will put everybody in our district within a 10-minute drive of a full service library. And we're really excited about that. So we're going from about 1,000 square feet in these 28 hours to almost 8,000 square feet and the regular slate of hours that our other libraries offer.
Yeah, you mentioned earlier that the new library is not that big, but in comparison, this thing's going to feel huge to the people that were using the other library. Because when you're talking like 1,000 square feet, you're talking like, someone's apartment or something like that.
It's about the size of a 2-car garage.
Yeah. So it'll be really nice to sort of have that it'll feel like a mansion almost, walking in there. And, I've been into new libraries, and it's so amazing how they feel once you walk into that new library. It just really feels like something special, and
Yep.
It feels like that for a long time after it's built. Like you can really feel like that love that the library has.
We want people to feel like they're coming into their own space, their own living room. This library will have the community meeting room that will seat 50. It will also have a kitchenette off of that meeting room. So for the first time, we'll be able to offer our summer lunch program for kids at the Superior Library, and that's really exciting to us. We have 2 small group study rooms planned for this library, and we're going from 7 computers in the current space to 20, which will be a big improvement. So there'll be lots more books, but there'll be lots more technology as well. And this library will have a dedicated staff, dedicated adult, youth, and teen areas.
Well, and that was going to be my next question.
Yeah.
Is this going to bring some jobs to the area, this new library?
We will need to hire a few more folks to staff the library. We have an outreach department currently that staffs the Superior Library and also staffs our bookmobile and does homebound services and a bunch of other things. So this new facility will have its own staff, and the outreach staff will kind of spin off from that.
Well, before we go, Lisa, why should people be taking advantage of this new library, but all of Ypsilanti's libraries? Because obviously you know all about them, you know what they have to offer. And if you want to mention anything about how you can take advantage of it more so during COVID and feel safe, if you're having librarians sort of help you find books or things like that, if you have any sort of new things that you're doing that maybe you hadn't done, pre-pandemic.
It's really been quite amazing, the resilience of our staff and the ways that we've adapted and changed what we do to allow people to still use the library even when it's closed to the public. We have gotten new services, and we've been very creative with kits that we've provided, self-care kits. We are doing the curbside pickup, and we're doing lots and lots of virtual programming. And I think that many of these things will actually continue to be around when the pandemic is over, because they improve access for people who are homebound and can't get out, or, if you have to stay home with your sick child or something, you could still attend an event through Zoom and through online. We've also really beefed up our electronic offerings. So we have lots more ebooks and e-audiobooks and all kinds of other streaming services. So you can watch movies and things courtesy of your library card. And we've expanded our Wi-Fi into our parking lots. If you need a good internet connection, you can come on down to the Whitaker Library.
Wow, that's actually pretty neat, because, we've heard about people that don't really have internet at home, and then they have to do schooling, and it's like really hard.
Right.
So that's awesome. That's a hot spot for people to go if they don't have a good internet connection at their
Yep.
house.
And we're also loaning mobile hotspots now. So you can actually check out a hotspot and take it to your home and use it there if that's something that you need.
That's great.
Yep.
Well, thank you, Lisa, so much for filling us in on the new library and everything that the Ypsilanti District Library has to offer.
Thank you. We appreciate the coverage.
For more on this and other programs, visit a2gov.org/CTN. Visit youtube.com/CTN Ann Arbor to see all that we have to offer. Remember to like, comment, and share. Thanks for watching, and tune in next time to FYI.